Hello everyone, welcome back to the Cozy Corner. This is Nick, and today we're going to go over a classic figure, one of my favorites that I have in the collection, and that is the Sideshow Collectibles Wolverine. Alright everyone, again, welcome back to the channel. I really appreciate all the support on the previous video. It was my first video, and I honestly didn't even expect it to get 1,000 views, and that's where it's sitting right now. Appreciate all the support in the comments, and I hope to do more. Just please keep giving me that feedback. I just want to get better, and I honestly have a lot of fun doing this. So today I thought, with all of the talk surrounding Wolverine with the Deadpool Wolverine release, I thought we would go over a bit of a classic figure here. It released 10 years ago, I believe, on Sideshow's website, and it's definitely a great figure. So we'll get into the art box right here. On the front, we see a brown hue to artwork of the figure that wraps around the box, which I think is really nice. See an image of his claws right here. Then on the bottom and top, we see a silhouette of his mask and his face, his eyes really glowing through there. And if we actually open up the box, take the shoe box style cover off, we then see an internal art filler that is his claw, all three blades out of his fist there. And when we take off that art cover, we then see the figure sitting inside. I really like how Sideshow committed to the foam inserts back in the day with these. I feel like it gives it a more premium feel, whereas nowadays you only really see this with things like the DX Hot Toys releases. So get him and all his accessories out of the box, and we'll take it from there. Alright, so here I have all of his accessories laid out on the table here, and I think we'll get started with this head sculpt. What I really commend Sideshow for, along with some of their other pieces, is their ability to nail comic style figures. I really like this sculpt. It definitely screams Wolverine and Logan. I really like the smirk. It gives it a lot of personality. Definitely works out well when then you also go to the next accessory, and that is a magnetic attachable cowl. It just kind of goes on the back of his neck and acts as if he took the helmet / cowl off for the time being. He also comes with some swap out interchangeable sculpted arms for a bent appearance. As you can see, there's some crazy good vein work here on the front bicep. Along the sides, I really like the shading to convey the musculature and detail. He also comes with some straight sculpted arms that are on the figure currently, and some bendable arms, so you have the option to pose without issue if you want something more exciting than either the sculpted options. And I really like the idea of sculpted arms. Hot Toys kind of did it with the Thanos, the Infinity War Thanos that they put out, where they gave you a sculpted arm, just because of how iconic him holding his fist up and snapping or what have you was. I kind of wish they would go more towards this direction. We will get into some drawbacks of these design options, but I think it just adds to the longevity of the piece, and I think if silicone arms were used on this 10 years ago, I don't know if it would still be in good shape today. So continuing on, then he also has some open hands, some, I guess you could say, clawing hands, open palm hands, both a left and right hand, getting a pair of there. He also has some C-gripping hands on the figure itself, so that he can then hold the exclusive accessory, which is the katana here. Really nice. That made out of metal. You don't get that too often anymore. And then, of course, you also have his claw fists, which are also made out of metal. Last and definitely least is the hexagonal display base. At least they gave it a design on the top, so that's more kudos to them now than before, or after, I should say, where it's just the blank base there. So bringing the figure forward, we then see his mask sculpt, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. A really menacing look and snarl. Really can't go wrong with how they did this here. The paint apps are great. The dirtiness of his teeth and the squint of his eyes, they're like a silver paint. You can kind of see that in the lighting there. I really like how this looks. I mean, it's really cool. And I mean, you have so much character and options between both sculpts. I suppose nowadays some swap out mouth plates would be nice, like we're going to get with the new Wolverine from Deadpool and Wolverine. But you can't really go wrong with this. I think if there is going to be a look for a Wolverine head, it's going to be something like this. Nothing too insane, but nothing too subtle either. The little wings here are rubberized plastic, I guess you could say, so you can stretch them out if you wish to have them flare out more. I've been perfectly happy with how it is, but from there, the rest of the suit and the tailoring, it looks phenomenal. The only pleather that exists on the figure is the belt, which has held up quite well. Sideshow, I feel like, has a better reputation with its pleather over the years, at least in its longevity, like I said, because it really holds up. It looks really nice. Looks like it was fresh out of the box, or what I'd expect it to look like. The leather wrappings and gauntlets are all plastic molded. The boots are a split cut boot design, so you get a nice range of motion on them, and they are plastic. And then the cloth suit, this is one aspect of 1/6 scale figures and their posability versus detail that I always like to point out, that if you use the right material, it's going to stand out just as nice as if it's that printed material that you see a lot of figures made with today. Whatever they used here for the brown part contrasts so nicely with the more denim yellow parts that you have a lot of depth right there. And I think the body that they used, that they had sculpted for this figure, he has really solid traps, really strong arms, really strong legs, and you don't need to rely on a bunch of padding to make it work, or a bunch of screen printing to really give an animalistic, awesome texture to the figure. So I'm going to put him on the turntable and take a look at some of the poses and display some of the different articulation capabilities this figure has, and we get to talk about some of the pros and cons. Alright guys, just wrapping up that little pose showcase there. I hope you all enjoyed it. Tried to pose him a little dynamically, with a little ferocity, a little anger in there. You know, being with Wolverine and who he is, he's the animal. So try to show off what those sculpted arms can do, both the straight arm and the bent arm. I didn't even use the articulated arms at all. I don't like them, even though I know that they have their value because it gives you more options for doing some leaping poses and slashing poses. But I think I showed off quite well what he can do and what he can't do. Um, Aside from that, the sculpt work holds up, the paint work holds up, the tailoring, the materials, it all looks fantastic. It really feels like a true reflection of comic to real life, or at least in a 6 scale, real life, realistic model. Can't really go wrong with any of the accessories they put in here. It can't really come with anything more or less. I think they did an excellent job on that. I think doing comic style stuff, alien style stuff, like in the Star Wars respect, Sideshow absolutely knocks it out of the park. They typically always do. When they don't have a likeness to adhere to, I think they really have the opportunity to shine and show how they are up there as one of the premium scale collectibles. And they've been kind of slacking on that in the last few years. But revisiting this piece, it makes me happy. Really has a good shelf presence, and I hope you all at that point liked what I had to say, found some of it insightful. Again, this is my first review now, so if there's any feedback that you guys could give, I greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.